Hello. It is 9:32 p.m. here in Louisiana. So it's getting late, but I had to come live because I have all of this craziness going on in my head and I need to share it. Um, Earlier today, I went live and I talked to you guys about Roger Runnels. He owns a business called Balance Energetics, and he did a showcase this morning for our chapter. And it was a really great showcase where he gave us a lot of information on the emotion code and body code, which is services that he offers within his business, Balance Energetics. So later today, or this afternoon, I had an appointment with Roger, and I am still kind of, I don't know if I want to say shocked, impressed. Like there's all of these crazy, weird emotions because it's something that I've never quite experienced before. And it's exciting at the same time because I don't believe that we are open to being aware of subconscious thoughts and emotions. Hey, Ken Waz. Hello. So I was trying to hurry up and come on live because you usually go on live like 10ish. So I wanted to be a part of that one. Just saying, I'm trying to do it quickly so I can. Anyways, so back to Roger. So today we did a session together, and Roger's a great person, by the way. If you haven't met Roger, you should, because there's something so amazing about being in his presence. And you'll get it once you're in his presence. So if you haven't met Roger, you should do that. Easy way to do that is join us next Wednesday for our chapter meeting, our Master Networks chapter meeting. And I would love to introduce you to Roger. Oh, Ken Walls is on the phone with Chaz Wilson. I'm so excited for you. Tell him he's the best teacher ever. He really is a great teacher. Chaz Wilson is also one of my most favorite people in the whole entire world, Ken Walls. I have to say it. Tell him I said hello. Anyway, so with Roger, we went through this session, and I don't want to give too much information because I want you to be open to going to see him and experiencing this for yourself. So I'm not going to tell you too much about the process, but I'll give you some insight on my experience and my takeaways. But first, I want to give you a little bit of information. So I realized over the last few books that I have read, let's see, The Extraordinary Mind is one of them. What's that book, Ken Walls, that you recommend? The author is Jen Sincero. You Are a Badass. I think it's that book, chapter 1 or 2, where she talks about the subconscious and how, the functioning part of our brain that thinks it's in control is the conscious mind, right? But the subconscious mind is the one that's actually in control, and it's the one that we are not fully aware of at all points in time. It's kind of like that background noise that you don't necessarily hear, but it's there. So Roger, again, this morning went into explaining how subconsciously you have recorded all of these events, circumstances, situations, experiences, emotions, all of these things throughout your lifespan. And sometimes we experience traumatic events, whether it is growing up in an abusive environment, whether it's domestic violence, it could be, other things that are considered abuse. I'll just leave it at that. It could be, a terrible car accident. It could be something that you've experienced that is traumatic, that implants these negative emotions into your subconscious. And like me, it's in the subconscious. You want to leave it there, locked up and put in the corner, not acknowledge it, just keep moving forward. However, Roger explains that when we do that, sometimes these subconscious emotions linger long term and they can affect your decision making. Like maybe you don't think you deserve a promotion or a raise or better things in life. You stay kind of stuck. Or maybe it influences your choices in relationships, who you're friends with, who your spouse is. An example, you grew up in an abusive home, and so the partner that you find is abusive. Well, subconsciously, your mind is almost tricking you into thinking that that's just a continuation, right? Anyways, maybe a bad example, but nonetheless, it is one. I hope it makes sense. It does to me. So, anyways, so these subconscious emotions and things can affect your decision making long term throughout your future. And if it is a long term emotion that you've held on subconsciously, you're not really aware of it. It's just there, hidden in the background. Um, it can really stop you from the success and the things that you really would like to see for yourself. Um, it can also cause physical ailments as well. So you have like this backdoor pullback that you're not fully aware of. You just know that something's not working, or you have like physical ailments. And so he goes into more depth because, again, I am not qualified to teach what Roger does. I'm still kind of learning it. I'm still very much learning it myself, but it's exciting and I really believe in it. He has completely blown my mind twice now, and it's almost creepy. Roger, you're not creepy. I think it is so impressive and spot on what you do and how you're helping people that there's no like explanation of how you feel when you kind of walk away, other than it's like you can breathe. It's like it's immediately released. Anyways, so got to share a little bit of today's story. So today I go and see Roger. We start doing some work together, and he goes into exploring the body code part of what he is now doing. And so he explained to me a little bit more about meridian, something I have never learned or heard of before. And as he explained it to me, I actually thought of Naruto, the show that I watch with my son. Um, Roger called this meridian, whereas in Naruto we call it chakra channels. So basically, the meridian is. He explained to me it's like you know how you have blood and veins and stuff, and it's all connected and flowing and right. Can you visualize that? Am I helping you? Anyways, he said in your body you also have energy channels that flow up and down. Kind of cool, right? Well, this is how much of a boy mom that I am. So he's telling me this, and I'm thinking of Naruto, and I can see the little cartoon, and it shows you the chakra channels. And, anyways, long story short, he explained to me what a meridian is, and then also explained that I had a blockage in this energy channel, and then went a little bit further. So then he explained that I know I'm skipping steps here, but it's all new to me too. And I don't want to give too much away because I really believe that every single person should go see Roger Runnels with Balance Energetics. Like, no joke. This guy is amazing. So, anyways, he uncovered that I had this blockage and that I was not willing to accept support, which was ironically funny. And kind of giggled about it at first because I've just been told the last few days by some of the closest people in my circle that, Victoria, you are way too independent. You don't allow anybody to help you. You're always like, hey, I got it. And that's it. And I get fussed at about that sometimes. And it's nothing like I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I just Maybe I have control issues. I don't know. So, anyways, so he said, yeah, you have this blockage, and basically you're not willing to allow other people to support you and help you. And then he went into a little bit more depth there, and we talked about it. And then, which this is the crazy part, shut the front door right now. Shut it. Don't let the breeze in. You're going to get goosies. I got goosies. So, anyways, he says, okay, so let's figure out what age you were issue started. And by the way, he said that we were addressing the issue that I have with anxiety. Believe it or not, I have a ton of anxiety almost all the time, which is why maybe I can't stop moving. I'm always kind of like up and running or whatever. Anyways, doesn't matter. We were talking about anxiety, which led to the blockage on the left side with the meridian thing. We're going to call it chakra. And then the not willing to accept support. So then he does his little magic thing. It is magic. I don't care what he says, it's magic, because it's kind of like one of those card tricks that you're like, what? How did you do that? Except it's like real, kind of. Like, anyways, I'm stopped. So he then tells me, he goes through his process, and he says, by the way, you've experienced something at the age of 23 that caused for you to have these issues, which developed into this full-blown anxiety type thing, right? And again, I may not be explaining it all that well. I'm hoping one day, very soon, that I'll have Roger on as a guest on my new show so that he can explain it a little bit better. I'm going to just put that out in the universe, as the universe has been working its magic so wonderfully for me lately. And just putting it out there. Anyways, so I thought about it, and I kind of started giggling. And then I start to like tear up, and I'm like, okay, tough girl. You don't cry, right? Big girls don't cry. Or so they said. Or at least that's what Fergie said. Anyways, so I start to think about it, and I shared with Roger that at 23, I became for me, it was overnight, a single mom of a 3-year-old who was homeless at 23. At 23. Single mom, homeless, 23. And, oh, hey, AB. By the way, I was just talking about you with this sweet new girl. Her name is Amy. I hope you and Amy connect, because you already have a ton in common. And I think it would be a great connection for you and her. So just going to throw that there. So at 23, I was a single mom, and I was homeless. And I was lucky enough to have some family support where I could go to and say, hey, here's all my stuff in my car. I packed in, as many things that I could fit in there. And they helped me out a lot. And I remember sitting down with my stepmom, who is amazing, by the way. And we were talking about a lot of things that were going on. And I remember being so angry because I had no control over my situation at that point in time. And I hated the thought of having to be a single mom. And I hated the fact that I did not have a place of my own to call home. And so I remember having a conversation with her. And I told her, I said, you know what? I vow right now to do whatever it takes to never be put in this situation again. Ever. I will never be homeless again. My son will never be homeless again. And we're going to make things happen no matter what, so that we are not in this place again. Like I'm promising myself this. And I remember having this conversation with her. And, you know, Trudy showed me at 12 what a powerful, independent, self sustaining, brilliant woman looks like. So I have to give her a shout out right now because she showed me that it was even possible. And it didn't hit me until 23 as a single mom in that really rough time, right? So I remember having this conversation with her, and I believe I talked to my dad about it too. And I was just like, hey, look, this is where I'm at, but this is not where I'm staying. I loved all the support and help that they did give me throughout that time. But I made that promise to myself, like, I don't care what it takes. Like, there are certain things in life that happen and occur that change you, the fundamental foundation of who you are. And sometimes, even though it's bad things, it's for the better, right? Me personally processing this thing. And it did, because I was able to accomplish so much in that span. It was 2.5 years that we went through this process of, single mom. And it, by the way, it's not that bad. It's hard, don't get me wrong. Love single moms. I have a soft spot for them. I think they are amazing creatures who need all the love and support that they can find. And if it's not within a family, it should be a community of other single moms. Just saying. But the homeless part too with a kid was a struggle. And I made up my mind that that was never going to happen again. So I think I mentally and physically changed as a person in that 2.5 year process. And it was the best thing that could have ever happened. In fact, I am thankful for it. However, after going to a session with Mr. Runnels, and he's saying, hey, Victoria, whatever happened at 23, by the way, he had no knowledge of that, which is really creepy. That's the creepy part. He had no background knowledge of my background. He was just able to tell me, you have this issue. Whatever happened when you were 23 years old is directly related to your anxiety and some of the issues that you're having right now. And so consciously, I think I have control over processing the situation, and I've come out on the other side in great ways because, again, 2.5 years later, I bought my first house. Great, all good things have happened, right? So no complaints there. It was what needed to happen in my life to get me where I wanted to be. I just needed a little push and a defining moment where I committed to myself that I would change things. So anyways, as I was going through this process, Roger, I realized, maybe subconsciously, I'm still holding on to things that I didn't realize I was holding on to. And so I've been processing. By the way, our appointment was at 1. I think we finished around 2. It is 9:51, and I am still processing this whole experience. And so I was like, oh man, one, it's really creepy that he pointed that out because that was an extremely tough time for me. And now I can understand a little bit more about some of the anxiety that I do have. I think it comes from being in a place where I had no control over my situation and I was just kind of in it. But I figured out how to assume back control. But I also went overboard a little bit. I do that. Where everything had to be controlled, like everything. I've lightened up a lot since then, I promise. But now I understand a little bit more about the anxiety that I have when it comes to daily situations. So, anyways, after we had this moment of like self awareness and just kind of like opening up that meridian or chakra valve, whatever you want to call it, Roger helped me release some of this subconscious baggage that we often hold and we don't even realize it. And so while I feel lighter, more aware, it is still kind of crazy. Like, again, you have to go see him to understand the craziness that I am feeling right now. Like, how the heck did he know that? Like, he called me out on that stuff and he had no clue, none whatsoever. And then it really did help me process a few things and kind of come to a place where I could actually take a deep breath in and just release it. And I feel better. I do. I feel lighter and better and excited and a little less anxiety now that I'm aware of what's going on underneath the not like the conscious line, right? So really, really cool. Go check him out. Balance Energetics. I think his website will be launching soon. But if you want to get in touch with him and go see him and schedule a session, please let me know. I will give you his contact information so you can schedule an appointment. He's located in Covington. His office is on Coop Drive. So there you go. You're welcome. Oh, and I'll share with you just really quick another experience that I had with Roger. This was, I think, right before he went out of town. Again, this is some voodoo stuff. Oh goodness, he's going to be upset with me that I use the word voodoo. It's a good voodoo though. It's good voodoo. It's good. It's really, really good. It's very interesting, right? So the last session I had before this one, we were talking and he did the emotion code process and we were talking about some subconscious feelings and emotions that I had. And I think the feeling that was released was hopelessness. Have you ever had the feeling of hopelessness? I have. In fact, we released it together. Thank you, Roger. So he went through his process and then he tells me, he does this weird voodoo thing, right? He's like, oh, and by the way, you felt this emotion at the age of 12. Again, he does not know my story. He does not know, okay, this is Victoria's life on paper, and oh, that's what we're going to talk about. He has no clue. He just does his thing and he pulls and extracts these energies and emotions and subconscious things from the energy that you're giving off. Again, you have to just go, you have to experience it for yourself to know what I'm saying here. So, anyways, he pulled out, or we released the feeling of hopelessness when I was 12. And this one, I don't think I've quite forgiven Roger for making me cry. I'm not a crier. I try not to cry ever. But this time he really did make me cry. And it was crazy because when he said it, it was like immediately the frog came up to my throat. And I couldn't say anything. Next thing you know, there's like water or something, like a faucet dripping down my face. And long story short, for those of you who do know a little bit about my story, at 12, my mom had passed away. And that was an extremely difficult situation to go through. For me personally, it was extremely hard. It was hard for my brother. It was hard for my sister. It was hard for us as a family to cope and try and navigate through that at such a young age. We were lucky to have great parents and grandparents to help us and support us through that. However, my mom passed away at 12. And then Hurricane Katrina hit. So not only did I lose my mom in April, but then August shows up And then I lose all of my friends, all of my teachers, my school, my community, everything was gone. I mean, clothes, material items that, again, my mom just passed away. I even lost pictures and some of the things I was able to get that belonged to my mom. Lost everything in Katrina. So at 12, can you imagine being a 12-year-old and losing your mom and then losing everything else right after? Not saying that this is the worst thing ever that's happened. I think it was a great thing because I learned so much through that process, and I am who I am today because of those experiences. However, when Roger said, "Hey, you had this feeling of hopelessness at 12," and again had no clue what happened for that happened with me at the age of 12. And so it gave me goosies all over and then made me cry. Again, I may never forgive you for making me cry, Roger. It's fine. It's fine. But I shared these two stories with you because I honestly believe that we do not talk about these things enough, which is why we are holding on to things 17 years later. It's still there. Just because you don't acknowledge it doesn't mean it went away. So another shout out to Roger, and thank you so much for helping me release that as well. Um, it's just crazy that you can hold on to those things for so long and not realize how it is affecting your growth and your future and the decisions you make in today's time, right? So really, really, really cool stuff. Again, if you're interested in experiencing this for yourself, I highly recommend it because I was completely unaware of these things. I had put them in a box and locked them away. And Roger helped me release those things out of a box. So thank you, Roger, so much for all of your help. It was great. Another thing that I want to talk about really quick. We as a society don't talk very much about emotions and feelings at all. We just don't. For instance, I remember as a kid, if I got angry and acted out and showed anger, you got in trouble. You got fussed at, you got put in timeout, you got a spanking, whatever the case may be, you got in trouble. There was no, "Hey, Victoria, why are you acting that way?" Or "What's wrong? Do you want to talk about it?" There was none of that. It was just, you know, "You're being crazy. You're in trouble." Or if you would cry, how many people when you were a kid remember being told the words, and I quote, "Do you want me to give you something to cry about?" Have you ever heard that? That's what I remember crying when I was little. Like, "Do you want me to give you something to cry about?" But there was no exploration or discussion of like, "Hey, kid, why are you crying? Like, why are you emotionally affected right now? What's the deal?" There was no conversation to help understand these emotions and these feelings. Instead, we were taught to, one, not react, and two, not to talk about it. Like it wasn't acceptable to have this open discussion to talk about how we were feeling and why we were angry or why we were upset. I think the only emotion that wasn't questioned or, I'm sorry, that wasn't punished was like just happiness and contentness. And I think that is crazy. I think that's wrong. If my son is upset, visibly upset, I want to know why he's upset, and I want to have that conversation and talk with him so that we can figure out the why behind the emotion. And that's me personally, but I also feel like I do that because there was a lack of it growing up. And anyways, point of it all is we've learned that emotional baggage can become locked away subconsciously and it can affect your life long term. Therefore, if you're a parent, just a suggestion. You don't have to take it. You can turn this off right now. But here's my suggestion anyway. When your kids are upset or angry or having emotions and going through things, talk to them about it. Help them understand their emotions and their feelings and the world and things around them, but mostly what's going on inside of them. I think that would be helpful. Just saying. And as I close, if you want Roger's contact information, again, he owns Balance Energetics. He's phenomenal. You need to go see him. If you need his contact, let me know. Send me a private message, and I'll help you get a session booked with Mr. Roger. Good night, guys. I hope you had a great day.